Hi, I'm Teresa and welcome to my channel. Today I am starting off a new series I want to do on my channel. So last summer, I asked Twitter to give me their top 3 favourite sapphic books, and I compiled all of this information into a spreadsheet, and then I was kind of like, now what am I going to do with this? I had an idea in my head, but then it didn't really work, and so I've just been thinking about it since then. But I finally got an idea now of something I can do with this information. And so here we are. So I'm relatively new to reading sapphic books. I've only really gotten into it in the last year, and that means I feel like I'm quite behind a lot of the time, and I've not read everyone's favourites or the most popular books. And looking at the results of this little experiment I've done, I'm completely right. I've not read an awful lot. Of the top 25 I'm going to talk to you about today, I've read 8. So yes, something I really wanted to focus on this year was reading more and kind of catching up with that, but then I'm also trying to keep up with new releases and it's all very overwhelming. But I thought a perfect way to do this would be to start a vlog series where I read the most popular sapphic books and kind of give my reactions to them. So I'm definitely going to be doing this at least one video, which is going through the books that come in the top 10 of this list that I've not read. I think there's 3 of them. And then if it's something you enjoy, something I enjoy, I'd love to just go through the list to see how many more I can add on. But yes, I just thought this would be so fun, the perfect way for me to finally catch up with all of these books and just share the sapphic book love, everything that I love doing on this channel and that you seem to enjoy watching. It just seems perfect. So I've got my trusty tablet here to help me go through some of the information. And what I'm going to do in this kind of introductory video is I'm going to talk you through some of the most popular books that came up on that little survey, shall we call it, I did, that little experiment I did last summer. So there were 125 different books nominated, shall we say. I'm not talking about all of those today because we do not have time. We would be here all bloody day and I have stuff to do. But I will link my spreadsheet with all those 125 entries down below in the description if you want to go through it. I would recommend you do because there's so many good books further down with less votes that I know that I personally adore, so definitely worth checking out if you want a list of 125 books Twitter says you should read. There we go, that's a little blog post title, isn't it? Love it. So yes, of these 125, 71 were only nominated once, 21 were nominated twice, 8 3 times, and that then brings us to the top 25. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through this top 25 as a kind of countdown until we get to whatever Twitter thinks is the most popular, most well-loved sapphic book. And I thought it'd be fun to make this into like a little challenge, so I'm going to put up bingo boards on my social media before this video goes up where you can guess the top 9 sapphic books. So I'll leave links to those posts in the description if you want to play along and haven't seen them yet. Hopefully it's just a little bit of fun and let me know how you do. So yes, let's just get started on this top 25. As always, there will be Goodreads links in the description below, and I'll link my reviews where I've got them. So at 25 with 4 votes is The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Janauda Petrus. So this is a YA contemporary and it's told through dual point of views between 2 girls. One, Audrey, is moving from Trinidad to the States because she was caught with her secret girlfriend, and the other is already living in Minneapolis. I don't think I pronounced that right, but I've tried so many times. The 2 girls meet and they fall hard for each other, with Mabel, who is the American girl, taking Audrey under her wing to help her get used to American high school. But when Mabel gets test results and explain why she's been feeling ill all summer, it's suddenly Audrey who has to take care of her. So this is apparently just beautiful lyrical writing and really, really moving, focusing on 2 black girls finding joy and love in a world that seems determined to deny them both. And 24, also with 4 votes, is Cinderella is Dead by Callan Bayron. So this takes place 200 years after the death of Cinderella, where the fairy tale we all know has been the basis for the formation of a new patriarchal society, where women have no rights and young girls are forced to attend a ball to be chosen by a suitor. And for our main character Sophia, she wants nothing more than to run away with her secret girlfriend. But as the day of the ball draws nearer, she realises she's the only one willing to risk almost certain death. Until she meets Constance, the last living descendant of Cinderella's family, who is equally determined to bring down the king and the society and uncover the truth to Cinderella's story. So this is one that I've actually read, and it's called Black Lesbians Bringing Down the Patriarchy. What more could you want? It's fun and fierce and feminist, and I found it really, really quick and easy to read. I would actually really recommend this for younger YA readers, people who are looking for a kind of bridge between middle grade and YA, as well as just anyone who fancies a sapphic book. Next up with 5 votes is The Last True Poets of the Sea by Julia Drake. So our main character, Violet, is shipped off to the town her great-great-great-grandmother founded following her brother's suicide attempt and her own rash behaviour. There, she endeavours to discover the shipwreck of the Lyric, the boat her ancestor took to Maine to find the town, of which she was the only survivor of the wreck. There, she meets Liv, a local amateur historian who's also searching for the Lyric. And you know, there's some bonding and some love and all that good stuff. So this is actually a retelling of Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, and apparently it's also very emotional and personal, and to do with finding yourself and dealing with mental health and family issues, and you know, lovely sapphic romance and friendships, and it just sounds incredible. I'm really, really excited to read this one, hopefully very soon. So next up, also with 5 votes, is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is a YA horror novel that takes place at an all-girls boarding school on an island, and they've all been put under quarantine after the tox hits. This is a deadly virus that first attacked the teachers and is now killing off students. The girls are unable to leave their school as the tox has taken over everything, and they are forced to just wait for a promised cure. But when Bayek goes missing, Hetty will do anything to find her, even if it means going against everything she knows is safe. So this is a Lord of the Flies retelling, but make it teenage girls and sapphic, and the reason I've not yet read this one is because I'm scared it'll hit a little bit too close to home with the current situation, but you know what, I'm looking forward to reading it, and I'm just gonna be brave and pick it up soon, I think. But yes, I am very, very hyped about this one and some of the author's other books. They just sound so good. I love the sapphic horror theme we've got going on. There's so many sapphic horror books that sound amazing, and this is definitely one of them. Another book with 5 votes is Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. So this follows Emmy, who's an incredible set designer already finding her place in Hollywood. And she's a hopeless romantic with a struggling love life, but when she receives a mysterious letter from a silver screen star, it leads her to Ava, who is enigmatic and unconventional and about to just expand and change Emmy's understanding of romance, family, and acceptance. And it sounds so good and adorable, and I'm loving the kind of film setting and aspects to it. You'll notice that that is quite a common theme in these books. Like, there's a couple of themes that run through these books, and that's definitely one of them. I actually took a which sapphic book should you read based on your personality quiz a while ago and got this book. So I'm very excited to see like what that says about me and to know if it was right, and just hyped in general. This is another author whose books are really, really well loved, and I also just want to pick up and love as well. You'll notice another one of hers later on, and I'm just hyped. Again with 5 votes is Tell Me How You Really Feel by Amina May Safi. So this follows 2 point of views, Sana, the overachiever straight-A student, and Rachel, the wannabe director. And as Rachel's casting her senior film project, she knows Sana would be perfect for the leading role. But there's only one problem. Rachel hates Sana. Rachel was the first girl Sana ever asked out, but thinking it was a cruel prank, Rachel's detested her ever since. So this is just like a classic rom-com and inspired by classic rom-coms and heavily influenced by Gilmore Girls actually, with reluctant allies to friends to lovers and 2 characters from very diverse backgrounds. Sana is Muslim and Indian Persian, and Rachel's Mexican and Jewish. And they're both lesbians. And again, film theme. Told you, it comes up a lot. So coming in at number 19 with 6 votes is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth. So this is set in Montana in the 80s and following a girl called Cameron Post as she navigates life with her conservative aunt following her parents' death and hiding her sexuality. So there in Montana she grows close with a girl called Coley, but just as it seems like there could be something more between them, her aunt takes drastic action to fix her niece. And this is one of the most well-known sapphic books. It's got a film adaptation and it's one that I'm very, very excited to read. It's all about finding and being true to yourself, but definitely it's going to be hard-hitting and emotional because of the subject matter. and that's why I've been putting it off. But apparently just really well captures the emotion of the situation, the realness to it, and I'm excited to read it, even if it's gonna hurt me a lot. Next up, and also with 6 votes, is We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia. So this is the first in a duology, following a main character called Daniela, who is the top student at a school for privileged girls. The only issue is that her pedigree that gets her into school is a lie. And if anyone finds out, her upcoming marriage to a politician's son, which will allow her to rise above her station, will fall through and she'll be relegated to the fringes of society. But when Danny's asked to spy for a resistance group fighting to bring equality, she has to choose between risking her position or helping free her country, and a chance at forbidden love. This is a Latina-inspired fantasy. It's very, very feminist and political, and it's got a slow burn FF romance. And I have heard such good things. This is one of the books I absolutely have to read this year. I put it on my 20 books to read in 2020 video. It's going to happen and I am beyond hyped. The next book is another one I'm really hyped for and also got 6 votes, and that is The Henna Wars by Adiba Jager Dar. So this is a rom-com following 2 girls with rival henna businesses in a school competition and navigating the difficulties our main character Nishat faces after coming out to her family as a lesbian. Nisha has been told that Muslim girls just aren't lesbians, but her growing feelings for Flavia complicate this, especially as they begin spending more time together. So you've got a Bengali, Bangladeshi, Irish Muslim lesbian main character and an Afro-Brazilian Irish bisexual love interest. Childhood friends to rivals to lovers, and lots of discussions and celebrations of culture. And I know there's a lot about Bengali food as well, and I'm just so hyped. This is so well loved. And I think if I had done this little experiment later on, this would have been higher up on the list as more people had read it. And it was quite a new release at the time I did this. But oh my god, I'm so excited. And the final book with 6 votes is Late to the Party by Kelly Quinlan. So this is a YA contemporary following Cody, a closeted lesbian and wallflower. When she crashes a party, she stumbles across one of the cool kids, Ricky, kissing another boy, and an unexpected friendship starts. Ricky takes Cody under his wing for summer fun, new experiences, and a really cute girl. And I am very excited for this one. Kelly Quinlan's books are really well loved by the sapphic book community, and I'm just so excited to finally read them, and Kelly is lovely. She actually made sure that I got an arc of her new book, and so grateful because it looks so good. And yeah, I just really want to experience her books for myself and see why everyone loves them. I also think that this is going to really hit home with the kind of wallflower late bloomer aspect we've got going on, and I'm not quite sure I'm emotionally prepared for that yet. You've also got some amazing gay lesbian solidarity, and I live for that. Very excited. Cannot wait. Hopefully I'm going to read this one soon as well. I feel like I'm just repeating that for all of them, but hopefully. So coming in at number 15 with 7 votes is Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. So, unable to face her ex every day at school, Millie moves to an exclusive boarding school in Scotland. There, she meets her roommate, Flora, who it turns out is a princess of Scotland. Don't ask. The girls just cannot stand each other to begin with, but as they begin to grow closer, Millie wonders if there's a possibility for a happily ever after. So, okay, not gonna lie, this is the book that appeals to me least on this list, and it's purely because of the line in the description. The Scottish students think that Americans are cute. And I am sorry to break this to you, Americans, but no Scot has ever thought that. It's really just the opposite, sorry. So this is a spin-off to another book called Royals, where Scottish royal family is a thing that exists. And apparently just the way this author writes Scotland is so bad and inaccurate and cringy for Scots to read, so although I do quite want to read this, I feel like it's not going to be that enjoyable for me because I'll just be too busy being like, what is that? But I think this is something Americans would particularly enjoy. It's definitely one that's very well loved and popular, and I love this enemies to lovers roommates dynamic. That's so much fun. Also with 7 votes is The Weight of the Stars by Kay Ankrum. So this follows Ryan, who dreams of a career in space but knows it isn't possible for a girl in her situation, and Alexandria, the loner who has to rely on Ryan after breaking her arm. The two misfits grow closer as every night Ryan lifts Alexandria onto the roof of her house, to listen for radio signals from Alexandria's mother, an astronaut on a one-way trip to the edge of the solar system. So I really loved The Wicker King by this author, and I'm excited to read more from her, especially as this book just sounds amazing and I've heard such good things. It's apparently got just stunning writing and it's very emotional and got found family and love, and I love that. And I'm also particularly excited because Ryan is a black butch lesbian and I love this. We need more butch lesbian in sapphic YA. And of course we also need more characters of colour written by authors of colour. And I'm just very hyped to read this one overall. The final book with 7 votes was Summer of Salt by Katrina Lino. So this follows Georgina Fernaway, who lives on an island where strange things happen. She's waiting to feel the magic passed down through the women of her family, but worrying that she won't ever feel it as her 18th birthday draws closer at the end of summer without her actually having felt anything. But when tragedy strikes, the Fernaway women are cast in suspicion, and we follow Georgina's final summer on the island, and which is one that is full of storms, of love, of salt and magic. And I am so intrigued by this book. I'd heard of it briefly before researching this video, but immediately added to my wish list. I'm so hyped for this. This is so much I love. This kind of everyday magical and oddities is one of my favorite things. And hyped. And you've got a mystery, some romance, some sister relationships, and an incredibly atmospheric setting, and cannot wait to read it. Very hyped. So coming in at number 12 with 8 votes is Girl, Serpent, Thorne by Musa Bashardoost. So this follows Soraya, a princess cursed to be poisonous to the touch. And due to her curse, she's been locked away out of sight all of her life, barely even able to see her own family. But when a mysterious div arrives in the parish dungeons, as well as an alluring new guard, who can both help her break her curse, Soraya has to decide if she's willing to leave the safety of her rooms and garden for the first time. As her actions lead to unimaginable consequences though, Soraya is left to question whether she's more girl or monster. I loved this book. So this is inspired by Persian mythology and the writing is just gorgeous and it makes you feel like you're reading a fairy tale. And it's full of magic and morally great characters, myths and monstrous girls, and highly recommend it. I really loved it when I read it last summer. And definitely need to get a physical copy because just look at that cover. I don't know where I'm putting it, but so gorgeous. So the other book with 8 votes is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. This follows Maren, who is waiting alone in an empty dorm room, months after suddenly leaving home with nothing but her phone, wallet, and a picture of her mother. She's not spoken to anyone from her old life since, not even her best friend Mabel. But with Mabel's upcoming visit, Maren knows she will have to face the tragedy she left behind and everything that's gone unsaid. So again, another Nina LaCour book, very hyped. I know this one's very well loved, and I also really want to read it, though I think it's going to be very emotional and sad and probably wreck me. So this is an exploration of grief, of loneliness and human connection, and it's apparently melancholy but ultimately hopeful, and I love that. I'm very hyped for this. So this brings us into the top 10, and it's the books from these next 10 that I've not read that I will be reading for my vlog, which will be coming in mid-April, by the way. So first up with 9 votes is On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. So this is a graphic novel and it's set in space, following a crew rebuilding broken down structures. And as the newest member, Mia gets to know her team, the story also flashes back to her time in a boarding school, where she fell in love with a mysterious new student. In the present, Mia reveals that her true purpose for joining the crew is tracking down her long-lost love. And this is queer found family in space. It's just apparently a quiet story but full of love and brought to life with just gorgeous art. And there are no men, it's just women and non-binary people, which say no more. I am sold. I'm very excited to read this one soon. And I'm actually reading it soon because I've got that vlog. I'm not just saying it. I'm definitely doing it. At number 9 with 11 votes is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I really struggled to condense this into a smaller description, but here we go. So Gideon is ready to abandon a life of servitude and an afterlife as a reanimated corpse and plans her daring escape. But her childhood nemesis, Harrowhark, is in need of a swordwoman and won't let Gideon go. Harrowhark, reverend daughter of the Ninth House and bone witch extraordinaire, has been summoned into action. The Emperor needs necromancers and has invited the heirs of each of his houses to a deadly trial. If Harrowhark wins, she will be immortal and all-powerful, but she cannot ascend without the help of Gideon, or more specifically, her sword. So this is Lesbian Necromancers in Space. What more could you want? I am very, very excited to read it. Apparently this book makes absolutely no sense, but like in the best way, and I'm intrigued, but intimidated, and that's why I've not picked it up yet. But I've seen so many people read this and love it. It's got a really like powerful wee fandom going on, and I'm very excited to join. It's got some gorgeous art, and every time I see that come up on my little Twitter timeline, I just want to read it so much more. So I'm very, very excited to be reading it soon. At number 8 with 12 votes is The Prior of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. So this is a sprawling epic fantasy following several perspectives. So we've got Queen Sabran IX, whose family has ruled Innis for 1,000 years and who must conceive a daughter to protect her realm. And we also follow her lady-in-waiting, Ead Durian, who's an outsider at court and we learn is actually loyal to a secret society of mages and determined to protect Sabran from the assassins creeping closer to her door. But a greater, more ancient enemy is awakening, and the divisions between East and West could lead to the end of the world. So that's just talking about our two sapphic characters. You follow 4 point of views, and this is huge and sprawling. I could not sum it up very quickly, but it's very, very good. I enjoyed it. It's got a tender, slow burn sapphic romance. You've got dragons and magic and ancient societies and political intrigue. And did I mention dragons? It's just a whole lot of fun, and I do really, really recommend it, particularly if you love fantasy and you've somehow not already picked it up. It is so good, but also so chunky and heavy. My arm hurts from holding it. So I'm going to put it down now and move on. Coming in at number 7, also with 12 votes, is the Falling in Love montage by Kiera Smith, which we all know is my favourite. So this follows a main character called Saoirse in the summer after she finishes school. And Saoirse, who doesn't believe in happily ever afters or love at first sight, meets Ruby, a lover of rom-coms and happily ever afters and all of their cliches. And they're both immediately attracted to each other, and after rescuing / stealing a kitten together, willing to look past Saoirse's no relationships rule. They decide to have a summer of fun, inspired by all the cliches and dates of the falling in love montages of Ruby's favourite films, forgetting one key thing, that when the montage is over, the characters have fallen in love. So absolutely, this deserves to be in this list, and I cannot sell it more than I have in like every video I've made since I read it. I just adore Kiera Smith's writing and humour and characters, and she does it so well. They're so authentic. It's such an authentic teenage experience, and she's so talented, does it so well, and she's so lovely as well. And definitely, if you're a fan of this one and all of this sounds good to you, also check out Kiera's new book and my review of it, which is the most recent video after this one. At number 6, also with 12 votes, is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. So when Liz's scholarship falls through, she thinks her dreams of attending an elite university and ditching her small town are over. But there's one benefit of her town: they're absolutely obsessed with prom, going so far as to offer scholarships to prom king and queen. There's nothing Liz wants to do less than enter the race for prom queen. But there's one benefit at least: her co-competitor, the new girl, Mac. I absolutely adored this book. It is so lovely, so joyful, just good teen fun. And I loved Liz's character development through it. I loved her relationship with Mac. It was so cute. And I also really loved some of the themes that this novel addressed, even within such a light-hearted rom-com setting. We explored a bit of the inequality Liz faces, both just in life and in the prom competition, as a poor queer black girl in a majority middle-class white town. And it's just, oh, it's so good. So highly recommend. Again, this was a new release at the time of this experiment, so I think this might actually place higher on the list if I were to redo it now. Which is what's really exciting about this, is I could do this again in like 2 years and have completely different results, and that's just so cool because we're getting so many sapphic books! How exciting! At number 5, also with 12 votes, is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Matar and Max Gladstone. So this is a novella following an unlikely correspondence between two rival agents, each set on securing the best possible future for their warring factions. Taking place over a centuries-long time war in the ashes of a dying world, as the letters turn from taunts to something more, something real, something that could get them both killed. So this is a completely unique FF take on Romeo and Juliet that I've heard is just gorgeously written and emotional. It's enemies to lovers at like the next level, and with time travel, and I have heard such good things. I'm very, very excited to pick this one up for the vlog. It's going to be a good time. At number 4, with 16 votes, is The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutkowski. Life is grim and punishing for people like Nurim, in a society ruled by an iron fist where only the elite are allowed the simple pleasures of sweets or wearing colour. But when she meets Sid, a traveller who tells her the High Caste possesses magic and tempts Nurim to seek it for herself, Nurim must decide between giving up her old life in the shadows where her secret's safe, or trusting a stranger who asks, above all, not to be trusted. The things I have heard about this one, it's so well loved, especially the relationship. You've got Marley Gray Sapphics and a grudging friendship to just a swoony romance, and like there's some plot too, I guess, but we're in it for the Sapphics. That's nothing new here. At number 3 with 18 votes is Criers War by Nina Varela. So I love this one. This is the first in a duology in a world where Automi rule. So these are these humanoid beings that are essentially robots created from alchemy, and they have subjugated really the human race. And you follow Crier, the daughter of a sovereign, who is a bit naive really and a bit sympathetic to humans as well, and Ayla, who is a human servant in the palace who's there undercover for the rebellion and wants to kill Crier for the crime her father committed against Ayla's family, and of course all the other humans, but like in particularly her family. But when she saves Crier, she ends up as her handmaiden, and the two begin growing closer amid lots of political intrigue and uncovering plots and dealing with complicated feelings and internal conflict, and it's so good. The yearning is next level in this book. Enemies to lovers, it's just all glorious. I really adore this book, and this duology, it's so good. Deserves to be in this position. I love it a whole lot. At number 2 with 24 votes is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. So it's another one that I really love. So this follows Lee, who's a member of the paper caste, meaning she's one of the lowest in society. But because of her beauty, she is chosen as one of the paper girls to serve the king as a concubine. And usually there are 8 beautiful girls chosen from all across the kingdom, but this year there are 9, with her chosen specifically. Over weeks of training at the palace, Lee begins to grow closer with one of the other girls and does the most dangerous thing a girl in her position can do. She falls in love. Not with a demon king, but with one of her own paper girls. And so her romance becomes embroiled in this conflict, this political conflict, and uprising against the king, and it's all very dramatic, and it's so good. This book, so good. I still need to read the sequel. I really need to hurry up and read it, and I'm so excited for the 3rd book to come out. I'm kind of waiting for that to read the sequel. This is set in an Asian-inspired fantasy, I think particularly Malaysia-inspired, but don't quote me on that. And it deals very sensitively with the quite difficult topics it handles, and it's so damn good. The romance is amazing, god tier. I love it a lot. I'm really excited to hopefully reread it actually, and I love it. And finally, at number 1 with 31 votes, can you guess what it is? It's The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this is another one that I absolutely adore, one of my favourites. So this follows a relatively unknown magazine reporter, Monique Grant, as she interviews the aging starlet Evelyn Hugo, who would be akin to like Marilyn Monroe. And really just follow Evelyn's story, following her arriving in Hollywood in the 50s until she exited Hollywood in the 80s, giving the full truth of her life, which has often been speculated about, and the truth of her 7 husbands, and who she believes her true love to be, who is not a husband, but rather a woman. And I adore this book. It is so well written and absolutely heartbreaking. It deserves to be number 1. It is so damn good. I really adore this one. I cannot talk about it more. It's just so good. I love the way it explores Hollywood and the glitz and the glamour, but also the grittiness, the realness, and the way that it just always wasn't the best place to be at times, especially for someone in Evelyn's position, as being not straight, she's bisexual. It's so damn good. So yes, that has been Twitter's top 25 sapphic books, top favourite sapphic books. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope this isn't too long. And as I mentioned before, there will be Goodreads links to all of these below if you want to add any of them, as well as a spreadsheet if you want to see all of the others mentioned. There are some really good ones that I personally adore that don't appear till much further down, so it's definitely worth a look. And as always, you can find my social media in the description, as well as my bookshop affiliate link if you fancy doing some book shopping and supporting both me and independent bookstores. And yes, I'm very excited to be kicking off this series on my channel, and I hope that you'll enjoy. I'm very excited for the books I'm going to be reading in the upcoming vlog, which is Midnight Lie, This Is How You Lose a Time War, On a Sunbeam, and Gideon the Ninth. It's going to be a bit of a mix, but hopefully it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and I'm very, very hyped. And yes, thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in another video soon.